Let's talk all about AI in business. It's hosted by Brent Mueller. Welcome to the Future Proof Podcast.
Hi, and welcome to Future Proof, the podcast where we're decoding how leaders, CEOs, and execs are changing the business landscape with emerging tech like AI. Before we jump into today's episode, for those tuning in for the first time, I'm Brent Mueller from Deploy AI. At Deploy, we specialize in providing autonomous growth engines that empower B2B and SaaS companies to accelerate and scale growth much faster than their competitors. So if you're looking to scale your business or just remove some of the hidden frictions of growth and you're just curious about how AI can revolutionize your operations, don't hesitate to just grab 15, 20-minute call with us. Scheduling links are in the show notes. But let's jump into today's episode. I'm really excited to have Peter Roth from SolarWise and Scalify. Peter, thank you for joining today.
Yeah, thanks for having me here.
Awesome. So let's jump right in, talk about your background and kind of, your career journey leading up to, scaling up SolarWise and now Scalify.
It's a funky story, man. Every time I tell the story, it comes out a little bit different. Not because I'm inventing it, just because deciding where to begin, the story is kind of funky one. So I'll start it at a kind of a unique spot. I got started actually in the cigar business. That was the first business I ever opened up when I was 24 years old, I think. A kiosk. Literally, I started as a kiosk in a mall. Like in
a mall?
Yeah, and I'm parked in a mall. Like 5 minutes from my house. I knew I wanted to get into a business. I knew I didn't want to work for someone else. I didn't know what that looked like. I didn't know anything.
We all know how that feels, Peter.
Yeah. I come from like a Russian Jewish background. And so my full family of immigrants, I was born there. I wasn't even born here. So, family full of immigrants. And, entrepreneurship is kind of just ingrained into the immigrant spirit and immigrant culture, but not because they're such brilliant business people necessarily. It's just born out of necessity because they can't get jobs. And so it's like you show up here, and even like my dad, who had a degree in chemical engineering, couldn't get a job to save his life because he didn't speak the language. So his degree was completely worthless. So he was only relegated to cleaning toilets when he got to this country and realized that wasn't going to be super awesome way to make a living. He started, I don't even remember. He started as an electrician. So he went to go work for an electrical company here in Colorado, which is still around. And I see their vans, and it's always so cool to see them. But so he got started there as an electrician and worked his way up, and then bought some dry cleaners. Way to live the, way to fill out the standard stereotypical, Russian Jewish stereotype. Started a couple of those, and restaurant business, and started a bowling alley. So my dad did all kinds of really fun, interesting stuff. I grew up in a bowling alley when I was a teenager. That was like my entire teenage life was living in a bowling alley.
Were you like in the back having to like make sure the balls don't get stuck, or were you like up front?
I didn't even tell you that in advance. Yes, that's exactly what I literally did. Yeah, that and smoking pot, because that's what all the bad riffraff were hanging out and stuff.
Like every movie where someone works in a bowling alley, they show the kids in the where you can't see them because they're back there. Absolutely,
yes, 100%. That was literally my story. Yeah, we had this like tiny little sliver of an office. And then back behind the bowling lanes, which is where all the creepy old mechanic guys worked back there, they scared the shit out of me. I never went back there because they were the scariest dudes. They were like the big, burly, scary looking dude. And you'd go back. It's exactly it was like going into the back of a mechanic shop. Like there's, posters of naked ladies everywhere. And they're just probably back there getting drunk and doing whatever crazy drugs they're probably doing. It was a scary place for a little white teenage boy like me to come back. This place was in the middle of like Black Denver, like old Black Denver. And so I was raised by like 50-year-old black men all through like,
love it. I
play a mean game of pool because they taught me how to play pool and, I got bowling and everything. So I had a really
awesome.
So I had a strange upbringing. So anyway, but what I was saying was, my dad and with typical immigrants, like they get into business not from this mindset of like, oh, we're going to scale and sell to private equity and, build multiple outlets. No, they do it because they can't get jobs. So they don't have a choice. So they got to figure out how to make ends meet and put food on the table. So
it's amazing the motivation that happens when you do that, right?
It's not this, it's not this glamorous thing. It's not the Shark Tank thing that, that we see on TV now. And so that was, the Shark Tank version of business was not my version of business when I got it. It's the small, it's the small immigrant version of business, which is the dry cleaners, the restaurants, the nail salons, right? Yeah. That kind of business. And so that's all I knew. And so I had followed a very similar path, until kind of recently, until the past probably like 10 years, I followed a very similar path. And only then did I start becoming exposed to the the Shark Tank version of business, we'll call it, right? The more sophisticated version of business ownership. So I got into the cigar business. I opened up multiple cigar shops. I had a really world-class cigar lounge here in Colorado, and then got into the HVAC business because I was bored. And so a partner and I started an HVAC business. That then got me into the solar business, which then got me into the lead generation space, which then got me into the call center world. And then lo and behold, here I am now. Slinging.
And for people that don't, know that world, that's like you think about that, they can see that trajectory, right? Because once you start growing a business, especially local, it's all about getting your business thrives on leads. It can't survive without leads, right? So naturally you got into lead generation, then you got good at it, right? Natural is, all right, how do I build a call center around that? Because that's how you get scale. And it totally makes sense.
Yep. Well, and what I love so much about call centers is that it solves, well, number one, like it allows my biggest why, I think, for people, like, why should you start a call center? I didn't go into call centers because I thought it was a profitable business, because I thought I could make money.
It's a necessity, right?
No, I got it because it works.
Yeah.
It
just works
for me. Like, I did it not because I set out to start a call center. I did it because I accidentally built a call center, from the ground up, very slowly, one person at a time, and realized that out of all my marketing efforts that I was doing, everything else was a giant pain in my ass, which was giving me very minimal results. And yet the call center was the one thing that was really performing really, really well. And it was the one thing that I had total control over. I could scale it at will, complete control over all the different variables. And it was just a beautiful thing because it allowed me to sleep at night knowing that I could actually scale my business at will. Like, it was simple. I just add more agents.
Do you know how many people struggle with that exact thing?
Yeah.
Right? In every business, right? They're like, wait, I can't.
Every business.
Every client that come to, my team, that's exactly right in the B2B and SaaS space. That's what the whole thing is. We hit ceilings, right? We don't know how to scale. So, I mean, you might get some phone calls, Peter, just to, they're like, wait, how do you do that?
Well, at the very least, we'll have a good laugh together.
Exactly.
All
right. So tell us now, you get it up to SolarWise. Talk to us about, that all started to come to.
So, I got into solar just because I saw an opportunity there, really more on the lead generation side of the business than the selling of solar itself. I never really got into solar so much with the intention of selling solar, but I did a little bit just to kind of learn, the whole business. But really, my main intention was I saw a huge opening in the lead generation space. There really wasn't a tremendous amount of maturity and sophistication in the lead generation side of solar because it's a fairly new industry. Like, solar is 20 years old in the entire country. It doesn't go beyond that. So that's not.
And some states, like, it's not even like nearly worth it as others, right? Yeah.
No, there's some states it doesn't even exist, period. So, like, it's really only active in 20 states, 30 most, really public, really 10. Like, it's really about 10 states where it's really, really aggressive. The rest of the states just doesn't exist. It just worked. The call center thing just worked. It was super scalable. It was very affordable. And then I realized, well, I can help other people do the same thing. For a long time, I didn't want to give away my secret sauce. That's the only reason why I didn't start doing this business earlier. I just thought that, why would I give away my secret? Until one day, a friend of mine who lived here in Colorado, owns a solar installation company here, reached out to me about doing it. And I kind of reluctantly agreed because I figured I don't sell solar in Denver. So I was like, well, he's not competing with me. Sure, let's do it. And then that led to a second, which led to a third. And I was like, you know what? There's plenty to go around. Like, there's plenty of business to go around.
Abundance versus scarcity. You got to convince yourself sometimes, but there's just so much more business out there than you realize.
Well, first of all, yes, I do agree with that concept. But every once in a while, no, right? Because every once in a while, you do find a little secret little thing, right?
Absolutely.
And if you give it away, well, then there goes your secret thing.
Right. Especially if you have a solar installation like in Texas, you're like, oh, no. You know what? I'm not giving my competitors, right?
There you go. So there's always more nuance to everything.
Yes. It's not a one size fits all question.
Even that comes with nuance.
Yeah, exactly. All right. So, and now you've gotten so good at this in the solar space, you've expanded to others, and now you're launching a new brand. So it's not just the solar brand.
Yeah, that's right. You've done some homework. Because I got pigeonholed into the solar space, which was great. I have no regrets about that whatsoever, because I do think it's important to niche down with whatever it is that you do for the most part. So I that's what I did, was in the solar space, and it did very well for me. So I have no complaints. I built a really strong reputation in the solar community, had been doing and still do very, very well in that community, and just naturally sort of parlayed into adjacent communities. So roofing and HVAC just became a natural sort of a thing. And then I also work with like mortgage guys, real estate investors, wholesalers, flippers, realtors, insurance brokers, you name it, all kinds of fun stuff out there. Because a call center, I always say that. I mean, a call center is a call center is a call center. But once you've got the blueprint and the architecture down for it, that's it.
Right.
The hard work.
You just change the scripts, right?
You change the script. Maybe you go find an agent that specializes in that thing that you're trying to sell, which we can help you do. It's not that hard. And you're off to the races. So, I mean, that's the beauty of a call center. It's like once you've been shown how to run the damn thing and how to do it successfully and lean and mean, then man, it becomes such a beautiful thing, because whenever I'm talking to clients, I'm always reminding them, I'm like, hey, like, congratulations on your purchase, because not only did you just secure your future in your current industry that you're in right now, but if you're like every other business owner I know, you have shiny object syndrome, and you're probably eyeballing 3 or 4 other businesses right now, and you probably already are in 1 to 2 other businesses at least right now. Isn't that exciting to know that now you own the lead generation process that can take you to prosperity in any one of these other industries that you're in? Isn't that cool?
Amen. Amen. So talk to us a little bit for the business owners that are watching this, that are going, wait a minute, I don't use this call center. I have my own office staff. Talk to them about the difference in what you guys offer by partnering. Let's say they're in HVAC or they're in roofing, right? Or they're a solar installer, right? Just talk to us about the difference in what you bring to the table for them.
Well, let me take it even a tiny little bit a step back to answer the question, I think, a little bit more aggressively, which is that most people in the home improvement space are doing, I would think, maybe I'm missing one, but 3 major things. Either you're in the type of business where door knocking makes sense, solar for sure, roofing, yes, HVAC,
pest control,
probably no.
Right? Yeah, they do that.
Yeah, pest control. Yeah, HVAC, probably no, but door knocking does make sense in a lot of these industries for sure. Or you're running ads, most likely probably Facebook, maybe a little Google PPC, maybe YouTube if you're a little more advanced, or maybe you're buying pre-booked appointments from another call center.
Right.
Well, I'll answer this one, and this one's easy. Okay, cut out the middleman. Build your own call center and stop giving someone else the profits and put it back in your pocket. You'll recoup I literally show people when we sit down and do a financial analysis, you recoup your investment in the matter of 3 weeks, a month. Yeah. So, I mean, the return on your investment is extremely, extremely quick, because the cost is very affordable. So that's the beauty of a call center. If you are, okay, let's talk about door knocking. If you're doing door knocking, that's great. Door knocking works. I would never badmouth door knocking. It's just a really hard thing to scale. You need physical human beings with boots on the ground.
And it takes a long time.
It's just a hard thing to scale in mass, right? It's a great practice. I'm not saying you should ever stop doing it. if it ain't broken, don't fix it.
But it can't be your primary if you're going to scale.
Yeah, it's just very difficult to build a large business off of it. So that leaves the middle option, which is running ads. Running ads, I mean, cool if you've got it really dialed in, if you got it figured out, good for you. I mean, that's awesome. Very few people do. If you're in one of these saturated industries like solar, roofing, HVAC, real estate investments, wholesaling, whatever the case is, all those industries that I mentioned, those are all saturated industries. Unless you have some very unique approach to whatever it is that you're doing, but if you probably don't, then it's very saturated. And now the huge problem when it comes to advertising in a saturated industry, as you probably already know, is you're dealing with all the competitors out there who you have to assume are bigger, better, faster, stronger than you are. Right. And so they probably have better ad agencies who are writing better ad copy, who are doing better quality video ads than you are. And they're the ones getting all the eyeballs and you're not, which means their ad spend is a hell of a lot lower than yours, because Facebook has proof that their ads perform better than yours. So they're giving them better placement, better pricing, everything. So they're getting all the eyeballs and you're not. So you're the one who's overpaying. You're the one who's not even getting enough eyeballs, not enough clicks, not enough leads. And you're stagnant, right? So it's extremely hard to get out of that rat race, because Facebook has or any of those platforms I mentioned, have too many uncontrollable variables that are uncontrollable, that you can't really control. And that's a very, very stressful position to be in as a business owner, when you don't know where your next check is coming from, right? Because it's so unpredictable. I'm assuming that I speak for everyone here, where it's like you would almost take a little bit less money if you knew that it was super, super consistent, right? Just a little bit. I'm not saying go get a W-2 job. I'm not crazy, but right. But you'd probably take a little bit less money if you knew that it was always going to be super consistent because you can actually sleep at night, right? And
Yeah.
so that's one of the most difficult things about running ads is the level of inconsistency and the up and downs and letting Mark Zuckerberg control your future, right? With his
Yeah.
whims and caprices of shutting down your ads and throttling them and all that
Oh,
kind of stuff.
and he's about to throw a big wrench into people on the later this month. So where
Oh
they're
yeah,
going
what a
big.
blur.
Oh yeah, they're going all AI from what the latest release, which basically takes a lot more control out of your marketing agency. So we're going to see how that plays
Right.
out. Third week of I think it's announced for the 24th. But look, we'll find out. Right? Again, they've been known to roll things and then roll it back. Right? So roll out things and roll it back. It doesn't work.
Sure.
But all that is just more disruption, right? And if you're in the SEO part, if you're relying on organic leads, right, in local, you know that a big Google algorithm can change things on a dime for you too.
Absolutely.
So yeah,
Absolutely. Yeah, that's
So
that's
to
the
your
best
point
form.
about consistency, yeah,
Yeah, that's the best form of traffic, right? Is just organic inbound.
yeah,
That's the best, but that's the one that has the least amount of controlled, right? You cannot
right,
control that at all. That's borderline luck. That's sorcery.
yeah,
Now we're talking
absolutely right. And what's crazy is you start to think about Google keeps taking more and more of above the fold with the AI
Yep.
stuff, and so you spend all this money on your organic listings, and all of a sudden they're
Matters
halfway or
less and
three
less
quarters
now.
down the page.
Yep.
Yeah,
Now it matters less and less, or you're not even getting looked at all. Now with AI
yeah,
being at the top there, they're not even looking down the page.
right, yeah. AI and then paid ads and then organic, it just keeps getting pushed more and more. So
Yeah.
it's going to be interesting to see how all this shakes out. But all that leads to one of my things I wanted to ask you. So the biggest challenge I've always seen in local, and I can speak to HVAC because that was a business we were in we're still in pretty deeply, is the amount of times that leads are not responded to because they don't have a call center, right? Their reps or they have 3 reps in the office or 2 reps in the office. They're on the other line with a customer, right? Those leads that they're paying through the nose for are not getting called or answered. And so to me, that's the immediate how they see a return on investment. People do not calculate that. Do you see that? Are you able to show them that?
Oh God, yeah, absolutely. Well, the way you meant speed to lead, right? I mean, speed
Yeah.
to lead is one of the most kind of overlooked, I think, metrics in most businesses that rely on outbound sales or really
It blows me
any type
away,
of.
Peter.
Yeah, it's frustrating. I'm not surprised by it anymore just because it's so prevalent. If anything, now I'm surprised when I find a company that is really on top of their speed to lead game. Like that's the rarity now. So when I meet a
Yeah.
person like that, I'm like, damn, I'm really like good for you. I'm impressed, because you guys are a rare dying breed these days. Most people are
Yeah.
terrible at their follow-up game.
Well, because of the amount of options for people today in almost every industry, I saw the metric used to be somewhere 5 to like 8, and now it's 21 times I saw recently, higher chance of conversion if you can respond to the lead within 5 minutes.
Okay.
And you think about that, right? Without a call center or at least an AI chatbot or something, that you can't do that if you have a limited staff.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
I agree. Yep.
yeah.
No, I completely agree with you. Yep.
Yeah. So again, I hope people are listening to this that are in these businesses that want to talk to Peter about call center, because it's a phenomenal thing to add to your arsenal.
Thank you. You can just come sell for me. I'll just put you
Yeah.
on the phone and say what you just think.
I've been a fan of this forever. I love what you do, and I
Sure.
don't understand why more people don't do it. And yeah, again, what do you think it is? Is it ego or just not knowing?
Not knowing. It is a daunting task.
Yeah.
I see people try to do kind of the homebrewed version of it all the time. And I'm
Mhm.
not trying to scare people into not doing that. I'm a very open person. I'm not here trying to hoard money. I'm not trying to hoard business, none of that kind of stuff. So
No, there's
you want
enough
to try it
business
on your
already,
own, I'll
right?
give you pointers. I'll sit down with you for 30 minutes and give you all the pointers I can. That's totally fine with me. I'm a relationships guy. So I'm like, I don't chase after money. I chase after
Totally
relationships.
agree with you.
The money always comes later. So
Yeah.
I literally don't even pay attention to money at all. So no, with that said, I'm happy to provide guidance to people. I can show you how to DIY it yourself in a 10-minute phone call. And I can do it with you. I can literally just sell you the components if you want. Or you don't have to even buy them from me. I really don't care. Like if you want to just find someone who can help you recruit agents, or you can go get them yourself, do it for free. You want help setting up a dialer? I'll send you the link. Go do it. Right. It's not even it's not my company. I don't run a dialer. You want help with scripts? I'll send you a script. Right. Like I don't have a problem doing that kind of stuff. But I will say it's hard, right? It's nothing is.
It is, right? There's a reason why you're good at it, right?
Yeah,
Absolutely.
a call center consists of 4, maybe 5 components, right? There's the script, there's the leads, there's the dialer itself, and there's the agents.
Mhm.
And then if you're big enough, then you should have a manager.
Absolutely.
Okay, that's it. There's five
Yeah.
components. Like, go get them. Like, it's not
Yeah.
a manager's a manager, but like, you can go get all these components right now. Like within 5 minutes, maybe not five, but within 30 minutes of ending this podcast, you can go get all these things, or I can get on a call with you and just go tell you where to get them. Like, I don't have a problem sharing that information with you. If you don't have the money to go right now to invest in, a fully built out, done for you call center with me, that's cool. I get it. Not everyone does. I'll point you in the right direction to go do it yourself. I'll tell you honestly, like, it's going to be not the easiest thing in the world. It's going to take you. It took
Right.
me 2
Bumps
years.
and bruises. Right.
It took me 2 years, to dial it in. So, if you can do it faster, I'll save you some time. I'll give you some pointers right away. I have no problem doing that with people. But
Yeah.
if you want to jump straight into it and do it the right way and have it done the right way, we can talk about that too.
Awesome. I love that. So tell me, as you look down the road, right? Because listen, one thing we know, private equity is coming and buying a lot of these local companies, consolidating to spread the overhead across multiple, right? I talked to a couple dental practices in the last month that private equity calls them weekly, right? To try to buy
Wow.
a practice, right? Because they know that they could spread the overhead across 30 practices, right? And so they can run it more efficiently, right? That's happening in HVAC. I talked to a basement remodeler the other day, the same thing. He's like, private equities call me all the time. So they're understanding, the business model. What are you seeing in the industry from your side? What are the changes? How's the emerging tech, impacting these businesses?
I don't know how to answer your question, to be perfectly honest with you, because what I see from a very small island, right? I operate on an island. And so, I'm witnessing and I'm watching the development of AI come in. I'm seeing it being put to amazing use. We do too. There are limitations with what you can do with AI when it comes to cold outreach. So I always I always advise people on what those limitations are and what you can and can't do. In the use cases where it is available to you, I'm a huge fan of it. So we partnered with one of the top CRM companies in the home improvement space, and we have a direct partnership together where they know my client demands and what they need when we build out a call center for them. So we integrate directly into them. Everything is done seamlessly on the back end. They know exactly how we operate. So now, when our call center is done, and if they want to also do a CRM connected with it, it's all tied in directly with that. And, to answer your question about, the whole private equity thing. Yeah. I mean, I'm seeing it all over the place. I'm seeing, especially in home improvement or in the home services space, not much in solar right now. Solar is a little bit too young of an industry
I agree.
for that to be happening, but 100% in HVAC and roofing, they're coming in and just rolling up these companies left and right. I'm looking to, I'm actively right now looking to partner with a couple of private equity groups to actually bring lead generation services in-house for them, because that's a huge component of what they do, right? When they're coming in and buying up a company, they need to scale it, and they need to scale it quickly. They got, 2 to 4 years, to really build that thing up fast. And that's what I want to be working with them to be that arm for them.
And I will tell you that we've partnered and worked with 4 or 5 private equity firms over the last few years. And I will tell you the one thing that they're very hot on, but there is probably their biggest blind spot, is lead generation. And so they do a lot of trial and error. So the fact, if they can partner with someone like you that knows it in and out, that's a great move. So if you're in PE and you're in this space, definitely give Peter a call. Peter, so we talked about the insights, we talked about the challenges, goals for your business in the next 12 months. Obviously, you want to get a few partnerships with some private equity, but tell us about how you want to grow outside of the solar roofing space.
I actually want to be partnering with companies to actually come on as a growth consultant, which is a common term in the private equity space.
That's what we do in B2B. Yeah, so it's great. Yeah, absolutely.
I want to operate. Yeah, that term may not make a lot of sense for people who aren't familiar with the private equity world, but private equity world, that's just a fancy term for lead generation. I mean, more than that, but
it's a little more than that, but yes.
It's a little more than that, right? But it's basically like, how can we scale your company, right? And the vast majority of that is lead generation. Of course, there's operations, of course, there's sales and all that other good stuff. But the lead generation portion of it is what really drives, is what really, gets that engine going. Right. And then you need the other components to carry it over the finish line. But I would like to be working with them. I would like to be partnering with some roofing companies that are looking for private equity buyouts, that are looking for a kind of a grand epic exit in the next 3 to 5 years, and then coming on directly with them as an equity partner, where I would come in and absorb a bunch of that cost on my end for the right partner, right, of course,
Yeah.
right? Come in and absorb a lot of that cost, maybe just do things at a wholesale type, level with them in exchange for, some equity with that company where we only get paid if their company grows to where we say it's going to grow. We don't grow it, we don't get a penny. Right. That's my
Yeah.
goal, is to make it a no-brainer for any company that's looking to scale and looking for a grand exit to work with us as a growth partner.
Love that. Love that. So I told you I was going to ask you a couple of closing questions. One is, if you had to restart this, which you're kind of doing that with Scalify, right? But
Yeah.
how would you do it different then? Because again, you had a lot of learning going through setting up SolarWise, as you were in the HVAC business, but so you kind of did it organically. If you had to do it again and start from scratch with like Scalify, what would you do different?
Nothing. I swear to God. I knew you were going to ask me that question, but you're probably hoping for a little bit more of a profound answer.
No, because sometimes you just say, hey, look, it's 5 components, like you said.
Yeah.
I just want to put the word solar in it because
because look, as I said, you should niche down in the beginning, right? It's really hard to just start a business saying, I build call centers for everybody. Then nobody will take interest, because you can't be effective for everybody, and everyone.
You have to have that track record.
You got to start with one industry and get really goddamn good at it, build up a reputation, and then slowly start inching your way, creeping into other industries, piggybacking off of your first successes. So I honestly think the answer is nothing. I think I wouldn't change a thing.
Love it.
And it's a frustrating thing, because people, even I ask myself, right? I have those philosophical moments like, oh, if I knew what I knew now, what would I have done differently as a teen or a 20-something? And I keep thinking to myself,
that one's a little easier for most people.
For me, it's probably also nothing.
Yeah.
Because
then you wouldn't have learned, right?
Couldn't possibly know when I was 21. That's impossible, right? I can't. That's physically impossible.
Okay.
Yeah. If I could be, if I could be a wizard, magic.
Maybe buy more Amazon stock and Bitcoin. Maybe.
Yeah. Okay, great. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Sure. Realistic answers like that. Sure.
Yeah. Okay. Well, I got one last one for you. So, magic wand question. So if I gave you a magic wand and you can remove one barrier or do one thing with AI that you think would accelerate Scalify, what would you use the magic wand to do?
I was afraid you were going to ask me that question. I think that the only thing that I would do is a thing that is basically not legal. It's the thing that
I can't wait for this.
Has not allowed, which is cold outreach through AI. But they're not allowing it for obvious reasons. Otherwise, every overseas creepy black hat guy would be selling cheap Viagra offers over the phone to every U.S. phone number on the planet.
100%. 100%.
Which shut down our phone systems in 24 hours.
Yes.
That would be the thing, because as like with any business, the human element is always the most inconsistent portion of it. The most volatile portion of it is the human element. So if I could cut the human element out and replace it with AI, of course I would love to. But darn you, FCC.
Yeah. How dare they?
How dare you?
These would go away overnight, right? The phone, because people would just throw them in the ocean because they would just never stop.
Just nonstop. Yeah. No, that's why I always joke around the cheap Viagra offers, because that's literally what would happen. Your phone would be blown up with garbage.
Totally agreed. The overseas black hatters would just it would just be so bad.
The phone system.
Yes.
You wouldn't be able to make an outbound call. Your phone would blow up. Yeah.
Yeah. No doubt about it.
So it's for good reason.
Exactly. All right. Well, Peter, we're going to put all of the links for people to get in touch with you.
Yeah.
But before this, just tell everybody how they can, if someone wants to talk to you and just kind of learn more about what you guys do, just kind of tell them.
I'll give you my work number. It goes to like my CRM, and you can just text me there. Text me, call me, whatever. My number is 303-709-2090. Please don't send me cheap Viagra offers. I get. If you want to find me on Facebook, that's like really, I'm always there. It's just facebook.com/official Peter Roth. So there you go.
Official Peter Roth. Oh, I like that.
Official Peter Roth. And then I'll give you my URL. Maybe I'll just send it to you, and then you can just
send it to me. We'll put it in the show notes. Yeah.
And guys, if you're watching this right now and you're going to look at my URL, it's Solar branded. So don't be too confused like that, because we're launching the new brand, which is called Scalify Call Center. It's doing the exact same thing we're doing right now, but not going to be pigeonholed into just the solar community. So now it will finally allow us to really branch out into all these other industries. So don't be confused right now. It's got solar in the word, but it'll be down below in the description.
I love it. Peter, thank you for spending time with us today. Listen, I've only had somebody that was partially in the call center world on so far. You're my first real call center only person, which is great because I believe that this is going to be a huge thing going forward. Because if you think about direct mail, right? You used to get stacks of mail. People used to just hammer you. And now there's hardly any, right? Direct mail works. For a while before you could SMS and all this, the phone was it, right? And then texting and like we saw online forms and all that kind of took over and it balanced it out. But I believe now that the phone is going to be the best conversion, or at least one of the top two conversion apparatus, because it already is in a lot of the business you work. So I really think that if people understand the metrics around speed to lead, like we talked about, and the ability to do it right the way your company does it, I think if you're in any of these service-based businesses or, and again, it's not just service-based business, but any of these business we talked about, I think you're crazy not to implement a call center and work with somebody like you.
First of all, thank you for saying that. I didn't have to coach you. I didn't even write you a check. You just said that. Yeah. I appreciate that. Yeah. But I always tell people, it's like, look, when we were talking about door knocking real fast, we'll end off on this. When we were talking about door knocking earlier, it works, right? If you're in an industry where that doesn't make sense, I get it. But in other industries like roofing, like solar, like pest control and all that kind of stuff, door knocking works. It always has, it always will. You can't ban door knocking, right? Even people have no solicitation signs, that even that doesn't work. So door knocking will always work. And it's so effective because number one, you're catching someone right then and there. And number two, you're catching them away from their computer, because when you catch someone away from their computer, Mark Zuckerberg can't sniff out what you're looking for and serve you 1,000 other ads, right? So because we all know, as soon as you think about something, Facebook is already showing you an ad for it. Well, imagine if you actually typed that thing in to your browser, right? That will get caught up immediately. And then,
or you say it on the phone, right? The voice SEO. Yep. No doubt about it.
Now Facebook is going to serve you 1,000 ads for that thing. And so there's a real problem with this, because people like solar, roofing, whatever, if you're a homeowner who's looking to go solar for in this case, Facebook is going to serve you 1,000 other ads. And now that customer who you thought was an exclusive lead is now getting quotes from 5 other companies, sometimes 10. Because it's so easy to do. They just click on their ad and get a free online quote. And now that's it. Your quote's now buried underneath this pile of other probably cheaper quotes that are probably garbage, but you just lost that sale. The way to fix that problem is to door knock. Door knocking absolutely works because you're catching them away from their computer, but short of door knocking, hard to scale that, right? That's where the call center is so beautiful, because it mimics all the benefits of door knocking without ever having to leave your home, because you can do the same damn thing digitally. Just pick up the phone and call, do it en masse. That's where call centers make so much sense.
Absolutely, they do. Absolutely. And the cost benefit is, like you said, you can make your money back in less than a month.
That just depends on. And
tell me where else you're getting that ROI.
Yeah, right? No, yes, it's crazy. Yeah, no, it's crazy.
Yeah, I love it. Peter, thank you for spending time with us today. I really enjoyed it. That wraps up this episode of Future Proof. And guys, we will see you on our next episode. Bye for now.
If you're ready to embrace change and lead with innovation, be sure to subscribe and never miss an episode. Thanks for tuning in to the Future Proof Podcast.